Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious. You can join us in broadening our minds on the Nameless Debates Discord via the link below, and even feature here yourself, if you've got what it takes.
I think of it too.
But I gotta say, just to talk about my experience for a second,
Yeah.
people have told me, and I don't know how true this is, but people have told me that I have like an honesty problem. So like
too honest,
been,
or
like several like demonstrated occasions
too
where
honest.
like I've been like particularly honest like about what I thought of something, and that's like gotten me in like a lot of social trouble.
I think that's just because you're agreeable, right? Like, no one ever says that I'm too honest. They just say you're a piece of shit, Matt.
So are you saying that like wait?
I'm
because
saying that,
little...
like, I say honest things like that, things that are too honest for people's liking. But because of the way that I say it, which isn't wrapped in, like, being nice, it's like I'm kind of brutal. Not only am I telling you this thing that's wrong with you, I'm not even being very nice about it.
Yeah, but I'm not making that distinction because, like I said before, I do tend to be more aggressive outside.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, when you're like being quote unquote too honest, what that means is that's the same thing people are complaining about when they say that I'm being a cunt to them, right? Because all I'm trying to do is tell them what I see. And then they're
but
like,
it's not. Yeah, but the distinction is, it's not like the people that like I'm talking to that's like telling me this. It's like other people that are like concerned about my self-interest that are like telling me this later.
I don't think that's a reasonable criticism, though. That's not what they're criticizing. They could be criticizing you for not having tact, maybe.
No. So the criticism, right, is that my honesty does not. My honesty is not practical.
Who told you that?
I mean, just various friends in certain occasions throughout the years.
I mean, it's not very good advice.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree.
Okay, well, honesty is a practical strategy. It's like the most practical.
No. Like, so we accept that, right? But the question is that in some circumstances, is it more practical to be dishonest because the people you're talking to, right, are not worth. They're not worth.
Of course.
Like,
but that's pretty
engaging
rare
with in an honest way, and you could get more for yourself.
That's pretty rare in my opinion.
Modify it to not be dishonest.
I understand that, but that's exactly my point. Like, that's what people like. That's what my friends are criticizing.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, when you criticize that, what you're criticizing is like your judgment about the situation.
Right, which happened to be honesty.
No, it's tact. It's not about the honesty. It's about when you're being honest.
And the way it's received from the frame of reference it's being, you know.
I mean, would you accept like lie? Would you accept like lie of omission? As like,
of course, that's deceit. It's deceit. Yes, it is dishonest.
So, like, I think omission has a nuance to be unpacked here a bit. Like, there's
if you omit something from someone else, like you don't tell them, and you know that they're looking for the thing, and you like keep it from them on purpose because it benefits you, you're being deceitful.
Yes, I agree with that. But now let's take away the aspect of they're not looking for it, they're not asking for it.
Do you know they would want to know?
Let's say that you can tell by their lists of interest, like
yes, that they would want to know.
No, that they don't want to know. That let's say that this is a person that is really into keeping up with the Kardashians, and they have zero interest in epistemology. That there's no need to be forthcoming with a nuanced unpacking.
That's not being dishonest, though. Not in my opinion.
Agree. Same. I think it's just omitting that.
No, but what you're doing there is you're being honest about the situation.
Yep.
Okay. Let me clarify. Right. So I'm in situation. I do thing. That thing is an expression of my honesty. Right.
Okay.
In that.
Well, like you tell someone something about themselves.
Yeah, is the thing a telling or an action?
Or, whatever. The point is that, like, say it is unsafe for me to do that, right?
What?
Hold on,
Like,
there's a few spots skipped. Like, are you talking or are you acting in the thing that you're doing?
no. So I'm talking.
Okay.
But the thing I'm talking about is the expression of my honesty. Like, if the
Yeah, so
honesty,
you're saying something you think is true.
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
right.
Go on.
But like, saying the thing you think is true is like a problem in these situations for my safety.
Why?
And so, because
How could it be a
people,
problem for your safety?
oh, well, in like one of the examples I'm thinking about, like, it was like not safe for me to say that thing, like that,
Why?
because there's a lot of like really stupid, violent people in that like context.
Okay, so like, are you saying if you're surrounded by a bunch of meatheads that would think that the honesty that you give them about their president is not necessarily in your self-interest, that you would withhold speaking candidly about the president?
Yeah, like I would withhold saying the true thing because like it is like bad for me to do so based off
No,
of
but like
something I
that's an
value more, which is my
extremely
safety.
exceptional situation, right? Like
Right.
in almost every case, telling the truth is the best strategy.
But my point in mentioning this is that like the extent to which I do that, at least from the perspective of my friends, is so that
Yeah, but I
like
would say that
it
they're
meets
wrong.
those exceptional like
That seems unlikely.
occasion. Well, that's
I
why
like
I mentioned like several demonstrated like
no, but
situations.
the thing that you said about your safety is extremely exceptional. If you're telling
Yeah.
someone something about them that they don't like, and that is what your friends are categorizing as crossing the line in honesty, I'm telling you, they mean you're not being tactful.
I agree with that, Matt. I think that's actually
That it has to be what they're saying. Okay, people
or
want
what they're
to
meaning
know.
to say.
Yeah, people want to know the truth. It's not that. It's that the way that you have told the truth is objectionable.
I mean, I've been like told point blank by several people that
Yeah, but I'm saying maybe they don't know how to articulate what they mean.
no, but like I'm responding to what you said prior when you said people want to know the truth. I think that there are plenty of people that I've met that genuinely don't want to know the truth because the truth to them, right, is like a painful thing.
It's
Like, I
don't
don't agree
accept
with their
that.
values, but like certainly
I don't
like,
accept that. I think that in the short term, some people can value denial, but the adult in them does not.
yeah, but I'm not convinced that people have that adult in them.
I am. People
Uh,
want what's best for them. They just don't know how to like manifest it properly.
Yeah, no, I accept that.
So that's the adult. Like it's in you. You just don't know how to be it.
But I don't accept that they like can recognize that.
No, but
Always.
the point is that it's part of them, even if they're not like consciously aware of it.
I mean, if they lack the recognition, then like I'm not sure that they.
I don't accept that. There's lots of parts of you that you do not recognize.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's still part of you, even if you don't know it's there, even if you don't like make a conscious reference to it.
But like, I'm just saying that like I guess to an extent, I'm not convinced it is there. That's all.
Yeah, but how so?
In there and others?
Yeah, and others.
Okay.
Let me grab something, and then I'll be right back, and we can sort of like structure what we just said. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Cross, you can talk.
Shit, another one. That happened fast.
I mean, you mentioned it, and I figured it actually should be a touch higher.
Shit, man, I've only been here for like 2 days.
Yeah, I was. I'm pretty sure I was gold on my second day.
Wow.
Then platinum on my third day.
I think there used to be a thing that explained how that worked, but I don't see it anymore.
There is. It's probably in rules, maybe.
I checked there. I didn't see it.
Fucking
I saw it when I first joined the server, but I remember that.
yeah. It looks like he's fucking moved it. What is he doing?
Hmm.
Ah, maybe it's. I don't know. What a dickhead.
There was also a rule about asking about it, but that's been.
I'm not too sure why that is, eh? That seems silly. What's up, Cross? You have to like get your mic to work properly, man.
What's this channel for?
This is a channel where people who join can't just start talking immediately.
That's like all the other ones, though.
No, it's not.
No?
No. Like when you join Tavern, nobody authorizes you to speak. You just can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how this one works.
Yeah, I misheard you, I suppose. I thought you said that it's a channel where everyone can speak, and I was like, wait a minute.
We can't really hear you, man. Them memes, though, am I right, Eddie?
Yeah, dude. And I'm reading through this document. I'm liking it, man.
Yeah, it's pretty G.
Yeah, like you guys are going through all of it, and I really think it's going to be helpful.
Well, it's the DM translation, man. We both know it.
Yeah, and this is like, if it didn't have that, I think it would be a little bit all over the place. But this really does structure the flow of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be, I think, I think the word I'm looking for is permutation. So, like, it can be like here's one permutation of how the bridge reveals itself to the authors.
Well, this is the bridge, like the bridge that reveals itself as the bridge of subjective perception, right?
Yep, and the way that is realized is the same way that it will be self-realized in another, but the words and the metaphors and the kind of content, the filigree, let's say, of the bridge is going to be somewhat different with each realization, but the structure itself is going to be pretty much the same length, pretty much the same width. Like, we're all going to be dealing with the same kind of 4-lane highway, as it were. And you can only drive so much across it. That it's
definitely, man.
It's structurally limited in a way that allows us to revere the limits in a way that don't cause us to overestimate what it is that we can propose based on these documents.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
It's really, dude. I hadn't thought that until just now, but it's
No, I'm really happy with the work we've been doing on it.
like, once it's like fully done, I kind of don't want to read the updates now because I'm like, I want to just wait till it's all done. And it does seem like pretty, like I could probably just read it and then there'll be minor adjustments here and there. Like, for sure, I wouldn't mind seeing presuppositional metaphysics, in parentheses, the braces kind, pataphysics. but that's just a personal preference. And it would be like 3 big words that aren't necessarily immediately understood by general thinking. But if the goal is to not be overly wordy, then I don't think I should even have input here. You know what I mean?
Nah, man, it's not necessarily that, you know. It's mostly just like try to be as precise as possible, but to still use the phenomenological frame that he's like going for.
Nice, yeah. And I think like ultimately, if once we get around to getting all of these documents into the right minds that would be able to, you know, either improve upon them, find the errors, or otherwise, that when those events take place, the ubiquity of the language we're all trying to maintain and the continuity of meaning that we're all actually meaning with.
You should leave the with off the end.
Okay. So the continuity of meaning that we are all
Meaning.
Yes.
Because that like sort of means indicating in that context.
Yeah, okay. But I want to say the word from after. Like
No, but you're not supposed to.
Okay. Why?
Like, what do you mean from?
Like, I mean, like, I don't mean to spring off of a foundation every time, but there's this impulse when it comes to thinking.
No, but like when you're talking to someone else, right? The meaning that is the thing that's being passed between you, right? It's the thing that you intend and the thing that they interpret, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's not something that you are like meaning, you're not meaning something from a certain perspective. You mean some certain thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and what you mean by that is that you're indicating something that you want them to see as well. You intend for them to see what you mean, and then sort of they interpret what they think you mean from your words.
Now let me ask you this right there, just real quick. When we do that, as you just described, we mean something.
Yep.
And then we go to mean another thing. Are we just making a connection between those two meanings?
In what context? Like when we go to mean another thing.
Yeah, like to build a like sequence out of the meanings.
So like logically arranging them.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay. So what was the question?
So when we mean something as you just described, and we're indicating, like I'm just going to say putting our finger on a point.
Yep.
And then putting our finger on another point.
Yep.
The movement implied by those 2 points not being at the same exact space. Logic is the connector.
Yes.
And then for them to follow the logic with you.
In that sense, what we mean is consistent, like relativity, right?
Oh, exactly, is what we mean there. And then
as in the 2 points have a relationship with one another, and that is what we mean when we say that they're not the same.
Yes, exactly. So for them to make use of that logic, then, not to misuse it or misapprehend it, there's an implied motion in my interpretation of it that causes me to use the word from, because I'm saying, here's my fingers on this point and then my fingers on the next point. And
no, but the thing is that it's the like the relationship, right?
Yeah.
That is the thing that you're indicating. Right? So like you're thinking about it like go from here to here. But I'm saying going from here to here is the thing that you mean.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the from doesn't belong there because it's already captured.
Yeah, because
so you're indicating the act of going from here to here. But so like when you that's the meaning though, is the act of going from here to here. So when you say this is what you mean, you don't say this is what you mean from. You say this is what you mean, where mean refers to going from here to here.
Huh. That's interesting. I really like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, but those little subtle things you can see, just as a side note, like for me personally, I can at least say this much, that there's such an impulse to dynamics-based apprehensions, as it were.
For sure, yeah.
The tendency to invoke movement where there is none, when meaning in and of itself is. I mean, I don't mean to even cut that off, but that's really what I'm trying to say.
I feel like that was a healthy coincidence, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
coincidence. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so I put my argument in main.
Your argument.
My dargument, yeah. My
That's a good
dargument.
one.
Little meme, man.
So I like that you guys named it DMTheoretical Phenomenology too.
I probably will put that though as like a subtitle eventually. I just don't care enough to do so.
Yeah, that works.
Because
If
I
you find something simple.
Like I'm still
But
thoroughly
I think
convinced
that
I want the like main title to be like Dark's philosophy, like in
I
terms of
think that you should come up with a more technically appropriate name, personally.
Yeah, not like a screen name.
Call it Darkology.
no
There was a-
dark masters, and the thing is when
No, call it DM theology.
no so
Or
so
Darkology, if you will.
hold on. Dark master, right? That name is like an expression of like it's an expression of like control, which necessarily entails respect. I mean, who does not hear the word Dark Master and just think, man, if somebody was named that, I would totally respect them with all my trust.
I don't think that because I know Dark.
Yeah, I don't think it either.
Problematic expression cannot be good tact.
Right.
That's what problematic expression means, mate.
Yeah,
It
and
means
that might
bad
be
tact.
full circle to the thing that you're talking about with people
Like
not liking.
in every case.
Then I guess I'm thinking of
problematic
tact
expression.
differently.
Tact is like the amount of like attention and care you pay to the emotional state of the other person, the situation that you're in, and how appropriate the way that you express what you intend to say is, as well as the facts themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's really well put, Matt.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna define tact that way, then I don't disagree.
I'm pretty sure that's how tact is actually defined in the dictionary.
No, that's fine, but like my I guess my understanding of tact is a little different.
But
So
should
tact
you?
is skill and sensitivity in dealing with others or with difficult issues.
But like, do you think expression of truth can be inherently? Do you think it can inherently lack sensitivity?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But the thing that I'm saying
Okay.
is that it's not the truth that is the problem. It is the
Right.
expression.
Mm-hmm. There's a tactful way to put it all.
But if we're gonna say the expression, then I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, but I think that's what I was saying is you don't have an honesty problem, man. You have like a problem with like the tact with which you
Yeah, but
express
I
the
think
honesty.
like
Sorry, you cut out, man.
oh so I think that my friends are criticizing my expression then, not the honesty itself, but like in context they were saying honesty, but like
I feel like that's what we were aiming to get.
That's
you
exactly
to say
what-
that.
Yeah. Exactly what
but
we're
like
trying to get you to say.
I think maybe part of like I think maybe part of me thought like that was implied. Like obviously people wouldn't be like upset by like what I'm thinking in my head.
No, but I mean like they're not upset by the fact that you told them the truth at all. That's what I'm saying. It's not the fact that you told them the truth that bothers them. Not in any way.
But that's the expression.
No, it isn't. No, it's not the act of expressing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the manner in which you express.
Mhm.
Right? How appropriate it is to say it at that time, in that place, in that way, etc.
With the context of the person and what they're going through.
Yeah, their emotions or You know, like for instance, if you take someone to like a fancy restaurant and then break up with them, right? What you're doing is you're using the social situation to make it so that they can't appropriately get upset with you, right? That's not very fair of you, and they would be right in calling you tactless for using manipulative tactics in dealing with you.
Okay, but let me ask this then. Would you accept that the expression of truth is a part of tact insofar as like how you like
No. Tact is part of communication, and expression of truth is part of communication. And so, like, there's nothing wrong with saying something that's true. But for instance, right, talking to a widow about the exact brutal way in which her husband died is probably not going to be well received, even if it's true. Whereas, like, 5 years after the fact, she might well be comfortable with talking about it then. And tact is knowing the difference between the two situations.
Spot on.
But so if you talk about that, right, and you just like say you just say what you recognize as true.
No, but I'm saying like tact is recognizing the difference between it being appropriate to say what you think is true now and how it is appropriate to say what you think is true, and etc.
Yeah,
It's about
I
the
don't
appropriateness of your expressive manner, not about whether it's appropriate to express it in general.
Like you can think of it as a meal. It's got a particular recipe that will make it appetizing with its words.
So then really the structure should be like, so it should go my friends are criticizing
My friends
truth.
are little betas.
My friends are members of ISIS. Okay.
My friends are mental midgets and dogs.
My friends are dead. Okay. So my friends are criticizing.
Just brutalize your friends.
My friends are criticizing my expression of honesty insofar as the times I've done so. Parentheses tact.
That last part doesn't really make sense to me.
Where did you put it? And posted it or?
I guess it may be redundant. Maybe it's like that I'm a little tired, but I'm trying to like imagine this, I guess, in like a structure, because that's how
Also that you're a bit of a meme.
A little bit, yeah. That's how my like autismo brain works.
Do you think that you have autism?
Oh no! I've been diagnosed with it.
Okay, because there's like this thing that I've always thought about autism in terms of it's as if there's no filter that was necessary for society to be able to kind of cut through the bullshit that normally holds us back.
I mean, it varies a lot between people. Like, autism itself is extremely vague, but like, I know with me, I don't notice a lot of social cues, but it's like, I don't notice a lot of social cues in like specific circumstances.
So there,
right?
I think
I've
that's
been
what
diagnosed too.
That's exactly it, man.
I think that's what we're talking about. We're saying like when your friends are telling you that you're too honest, then they aren't doing a good job of pointing out the problem. They're indicating that the way that you're honest is too is uncomfortably forthright in an inappropriate way.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, so I accept that, right? I guess the way it seemed you guys were like telling me this originally seemed to suggest that like you guys were saying that like I was telling the truth and being, say, like particularly rude.
No.
I was saying like
no. I recognize what you listen. I recognize what you were doing, right? Like I recognize this in retrospect, right? I just think that I was confused at the time.
Yeah,
about,
I know.
what
I was
you
going to
guys were
say,
saying.
like, probably why is that initially I started off by saying it was the same thing. when your friends tell you you're being too honest, that is the same criticism in principle I am hearing when someone tells me that I'm an asshole.
Yeah, it is a very similar pattern.
Right? They also mean that I don't have tact. That's what they mean. But
Mhm.
how they say it is a different thing.
Yep.
It's just like funny. So I tend to like lack. Okay, so I've done actually like a lot of like public speaking, and believe like strangely enough, I'm quite good at it. Like in college, I got
Do you
an
stutter
A.
a lot?
Not really. I
It's
actually
interesting because you stutter a fair bit on the internet.
I do, but it's like it's strangely different. So I'll give you an example, right? You know that like when I talk about say my ethical model, how I have it memorized.
Yeah, but
A
it's like
speech is a lot like that.
it's recitation though.
Hmm?
It's recitation that you're doing in that instance.
Yeah, I'm reciting it, or I'm reciting something in my mind, and so yeah,
No, you're
I
reciting it
don't.
out loud.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
You're reciting it
Yeah,
out loud.
Well, I'm reciting it in my mind, and then I express it out loud.
No, it's like when a Muslim tells you what's in the Quran. They are reciting it from memory.
Yeah, but I'm more saying like so. It's like it plays in my mind, and then I say what is in my mind.
Is there a delay?
Little bit, yeah. I
Okay.
think that's the point I'm trying to make. But like where I'm
No,
like,
but like when I hear you do the ethical model one, it is in every sense a recitation. It even has rhythm. You can hear that it's a recitation.
yeah, but are you saying that there is
Okay,
no?
so tell me the like condition for bad in your model.
You mean harm?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So the unwarranted infringement upon a competent agent with the valid capacity of consent without demonstrated justification of further method to protect such agency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've given me
yeah.
that
You
one.
can hear it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the first time.
Like I agree that I say it like with. I agree that I say it with.
Recitationally, it's like you're citing and then reciting.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, if you guys are saying that, like, recitation encompasses the delay you were talking about before. That's all.
No, but recitation does definitely encompass that.
Okay, then, yeah, if you're saying that, then I totally agree.
Like when an actor is reciting their lines, they're not necessarily only thinking about what they're gonna say in the moment that they say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just making sure, because, like, there are plenty of people that can, like, do so with, like, far less of, like, a delay than it seems you guys are indicating. And I'm not, like...
I didn't think there is actually a big delay when we get down to asking you what your like definition of hum is. It comes out pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
I guess, like, I think that there's, like, maybe more of a delay than, like, some other people. Well, I'm, like, convinced that there is.
Some latency.
Yeah.
I wonder about that too, because when I think about my own thoughts in real time, like right now, as I'm saying these words, I get into a blur where I can't even tell that I'm pre-thinking or post-thinking or as the words are coming out right now. I'm not actually choosing anything about it. It's just what I'm saying right now is what I'm saying. And I can kind of get almost nauseatingly self-reflective in those little feedback loops. But that's where I've kind of cleared space from pre-recorded stuff and what's just on the outside of that, like clear let's just say there's no data installed in that area. I'm trying to keep that space blank for a reason. Then I keep other things that are just like what you have, recitations or memories or movies or quotes, or like I just have a bubble of things around me that I'm ready and able to access in this moment in order to give a little bit of language to some present moment of
So
awareness.
I actually have a pretty good example of like what I like think what I think may be the result of like my autism, right?
Mhm.
So I'll read
It's
something
so
I
funny to hear
posted.
someone say that in an unironic sense.
Yeah.
I think it could be like I've heard some people use the idea of autism as an upgrade to humanity.
I don't know,
What do you
'cause,
think
like,
of that, Dark Master?
yeah, I don't know if I agree. Like, I think it would be more useful if I communicate, like, if I had like
I think they mean to
if I had a better
cognition.
inherent capacity, say, to communicate.
I think they mean to cognition though, because of the differences in like attention. Autistic people can be like savants at certain activities.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Insync, have you been diagnosed with like, or have you ever been tested for autism?
Nah, man. But my dad's definitely on the spectrum.
I
I
tell
see.
you that it would definitely be a lot easier if everyone had it, because the communication issue would
Everybody
be
is on the spectrum, man. That's why it's a
I think
spectrum.
that too, dude. I do think that.
That's like the definition of a spectrum.
Okay. But I really gotta say this, right? It's so fucking weird because it's like there's a lot of cases, right, where like people will say like autistic people are like robots. So it's kind of funny because I'm like, I
You are a
kind
bit
of
of a
meme
robot,
on that.
I
Hold
Yeah.
on, I kind of meme on that because I'm like, wait, yeah, I just go in my life, you know. Oh hey, I want to buy something. Beep boop. but then right, right, there's like cases where like I'm like expected to act in a way that's like far less robotic than like how I actually like behave. And
Mhm.
then it's like, no, I want you to think of me as more of a robot.
It's an interesting thing how there's a quote that's hazily in my mind of every opportunity that man gets to make himself into a robot, he seizes or doesn't. I'm butchering it, but there's a quote about humans kind of converting themselves into robots in a way that we reject it first, and then ultimately we end up pursuing it because there's a bit of freedom in knowing a certain parameter of behavior that we can submit to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a transhumanist, but that aside, so just to give like a potential funny autistic example from me earlier is so I wrote in mod chat because I was making an argument for like why it may not be a good idea to have that many channels at the top, and I wrote, my concern is less about activity and more about space through, ergo more than necessary. Channels take up space, resulting in a decrease in intention. Since I expect people to see that many channels and literally dig up their rotting grandmother and ask why she birthed their parents, or they decide within the span of a split second it's too much of a chore to the check that many channels. Like, so basically, right, I made an argument, but then like I said right in the middle of it, literally dig up their rotting grandmother and ask why did she birth their parents.
An absurdity.
Or actually it should be parent, but anyhow, the point is like, so that's a direct example of how like little disregard I like intuitively have for like social cues, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I can relate to that.
yeah. So like, for
I think you
example,
mean how little regard. You said disregard.
oh, did I say disregard? Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
paying close enough attention.
Yeah, neither was I.
I was hearing or thinking that's what you meant, though.
Hey, wait a minute, visionary. Maybe you're
Yeah.
also autismo. Maybe we need to start a club.
It's possible. I mean,
More additions to the club. I think we've got 3 or so.
I've thought this before because if it's not that, then it's something that I can definitely suppress my dark humor because I was raised in a way that made me this kind of nice candy coating on the outside.
No, but I just want to be clear, right? So I can do that, but like it's way more like difficult, I guess, to do so in like interpersonal like contexts, and that's my point. So like the mod chat, right? It's a way more like personal setting, and so because it's a way more personal setting, like that's like why I like intuitively had like way less regard for for like the social context, but also I can sometimes do that in public as well. So for example, at my University 101 speech that I gave on a potential career, I spent 25 minutes arguing for like why I want to be the leader of a cartel. And like that like literally like that like deleted the system32 files and like what everybody was like thinking.
It's interesting to hear this though, because I think this points to the distinction that we can make between public and private, and the reason why we end up drawing a circle around a thing called government that's based on, in America, the republic. So we're like taking what we can know about our private and public self and then republicizing that aspect.
But it's so weird with like a lot of my like behavior in like a personal sense, right? Because like the more personal the context is, like the more say I care about like establishing something like what I think about truth with that particular individual, but like the less I care about like more conventional social contexts.
That maps with me as well, man. I don't even think I don't think that that's autistic of me if I am, and I wouldn't say that that's autistic of you. I say that's authentic. Like you want those that are closest to you to understand who you truly at least think you are, as well as how you're presenting yourself.
Well, I mean, we could just say it's authentically autistic.
It could be that even.
I just mean like insofar as like what it seems like, say, professionals describe as autistic behavior, I should have a much like better capacity to like notice like that lack of that lack of regard for like like conventional like social cues in interpersonal like relationships, but I don't see that like as well as like what's supposedly the standard, and thus like that's what in this particular way makes me autistic.
Like it's a little bit of I don't want to say social blindness, but that's what's coming to mind.
Oh no! It's totally social blindness, but just a type of it. That's all.
And in a way, it's kind of selective, but it also, I don't know. There's something about it that I find it makes sense to me because the rules of society have been obscured so much, so as to not really be able to get a baseline on it, especially from someone as perceptive as you're trying to be.
Yeah, but like a good example is like, so within interpersonal relationships, I tend to focus like far less on like a lot of the emotions that come into play, and I tend to become like more blunt about like what I think. But like
I hadn't noticed.
It's like, yeah, but it's like an expression of like an increase in how much I care. But the thing is like to most people, that's like contrary to like how you would behave if you cared more. And
Yeah.
I recognize that, right? But it's like hard to control myself sometimes.
Do you think you recognize that intellectually? And it
Yeah,
doesn't really.
like I mean I recognize so I recognize that, like, hey, it seems like this process is occurring, but
Yeah.
I also like have trouble catching myself at times.
Fair enough. I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, maybe, but like the
Well,
point
yeah.
being, like according to psychologists, right? My behavior is like lower in that regard than like how most other people function in this. Now, I do definitely have like there's some areas where you could say I'm like probably like above a lot of people socially. Like, so say because I have a high concern for truth, that means that like I'm willing to put in the work in a lot of cases to actually find that. And so you could argue that that's like that's a social behavior, insofar as I'm doing it socially, that's like far superior than like a lot of people. But like I also have a deficit in this other regard.
Yeah, I think that goes with the territory in terms of any maximized output that we are exhibiting. As far as I can tell, the only thing that we really can control is our behavior and maybe our attitude towards it.
We have free will, Keck.
Yeah, I reject.
Very stoic of you.
Thank you, man. I think the Stoics have an interesting take on what it is that humans can control.
I am a Stoic, but there's different types of Stoicism, and some types I reject, but like others I kind of accept.
Yeah,
I find that I tend in environments like this because there's a semi-rigid set of rules.
Yeah, I don't really consider myself a Stoic, but I definitely think that Stoicism has some like pretty good central ideas.
Yeah, some merit to the way that they try to help the human orient itself in its environment.
It's just like
definitely.
you have
some like ideas that you should like pick up from them, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a Stoic.
Same. I don't think of myself as one either.
Yeah, fair enough. But like at some future point, I would like to have that conversation with you guys because I may be able to like convince you. So there's
Fair
like
enough.
different Stoic models.
Yeah.
And then like I think some of them are like legitimate insofar as describing like the best function for people to behave with regard to like their personality type. So to give you an example, right? I accept like a Stoic model insofar as how I behave because that like works the best for my personality type. But if somebody had a different personality type, then like it wouldn't work. And so it depends. But that's a conversation for another time.
It sounds a bit.
How much have you read of Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah, that's the only guy I really think of as Stoics.
Yeah. No.
There's Zeno. You wrote pretty good stuff.
Yeah, but like that's what's called like classical Stoicism, which I don't accept.
Really? Why?
Well, because I don't think it takes like into account like how people actually function. I think it makes a lot of like simplistic claims, and I understand why, because they didn't have a lot of information at the time. But I think people have moved on and they understand that like different people function in different ways, and that needs to be taken into account.
I'll be back soon.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.